I'm Dan Ray with the Sports Desk. We're sitting down with interim head coach Ed Foley. Ed, the news broke yesterday about Matt Rhule taking the job at Baylor. What was the initial reaction around the team?
I think the initial reaction was surprise, although I think some of the older kids who have been through it before understand that at this time of the year, when you're successful, those kind of things happen. So we've had good leadership on the team, and we're going to just take it one day at a time.
And you just talk about what was it like to work for Matt Rhule? You know, everyone on the team, praises him and talks very highly about him. What was it like to work for that guy?
Matt's great. Matt's number one concern is the kids, and they know it. And I worked for him both as an offensive coordinator, and as a head coach. So I remember the days back when Matt and I were working in the offensive room under Al Golden. So developed a relationship with Matt and Julian and my wife, and got to know him on a personal level. Enjoyed every second of my time with him. He's just such a high energy guy, very positive guy. He will push the right buttons on guys, and he takes the time to be able to motivate each guy individually, which is really hard to do. I mean, he really is a very caring person, but he's very competitive as well. And that combination of things is done really well for him here, and will do really well for him at Baylor.
Yeah, can you kind of elaborate about, you just said, he cares about every person and wants to push them individually. Can you talk about that as sort of a personality trait?
Yeah, one of the hardest things for us to do as coaches is to find out what makes each guy tick. And that was one of Matt's mantras, was really get into knowing the guys. And it takes some time and effort to do that, because when they're young, sometimes the guys won't do that. But I thought Matt was tremendous at being able to figure out what would make a guy go. Some guys you got to prod him a little bit. Some guys you can yell at a little bit. Some guys you can't. And Matt really took the time to get to know the kids, and had a lot of individual meetings with the players, developed the players from a very young age with an attitude of, hey, I'm here for you, I care about you, but I'm also going to push you to be as good as you can be and work in that fine line. And he was really, really good at that.
And now, obviously, 2-10 the first season that Matt got to coach Temple. Didn't seem to discourage him. It just kept going up and up and up, and then culminates with an AAC championship win. What did Matt do for this program?
I mean, what Matt did, is basically take the program from 2-10 to a championship level program. But Temple's a great place. It's not. We did a great job recruiting with Matt. We did a great job recruiting with Al and with Steve as well. But there's some things about Temple itself that attract people here and want to stay here and have a good time. So Matt was able to find that kind of wave and the right kind of kid and the right kind of fit, and take his attitude on the road with him recruiting, bring those guys in, develop them as players. So it was kind of a whole system of success that was built in that he took advantage of, and he was great. I mean, he did a great job. He made it fun for the players, and he was fun in the home. Like if he would go out to a recruit's home, he would have that would come right across in the home. So he was able to cultivate his attitude into the recruiting part of it, which was awesome.
And why is Matt Rhule a Temple guy?
He's a Temple guy because I think you love where you are, you understand where you are, but there's a toughness about it. It's not easy to be a Temple guy. It's not easy. We say, oh, the guy's Temple tough. Well, when you say a guy's Temple tough, or he's a Temple guy in our football program, that means he loves his teammates, but he's been through a little bit. He's been through winter workouts, or he's been through some adversity at home, or he's been through, and you look at the guys that were graduating now, they've been through something. There's an air to me at Temple about toughness, about perseverance, about just being able to be here for the long haul and be committed to the process and committed to your teammates and to a place that you love. And that whole thing kind of fits the right way, I think.
What do you think he's done, for his players? Like the seniors right now, that was his first recruiting class. What have you seen in the growth of them just from their first time with Matt Rhule to now, graduating and being conference champions? Well,
I mean, you're dealing with guys when they come in, they're boys. You're dealing with guys that come from all different backgrounds. There's a bunch of things, but basically, guys are immature. They come in and they've been in programs where the coaches told them that they're great, or the coaches told them that they stunk, or they've been from a home life where they've been, coddled or not or whatever. But I think the one thing that Matt's done and that our program has done is take them from that stage where they're boys to getting them ready to go play in the NFL or be a dad or go into the working environment. And that's what I think Temple does for you. It makes you grow up. And I think, Matt was really critical in the development of those guys. Just to watch them grow in the 4 or 5 years that we've been here it's been absolutely incredible.
And can you pinpoint one thing that you learned from Matt Rhule, something that you'll take away with you?
Well, I think just what we talked about already. I mean, I think spending the time with the players individually, you get caught up as a position coach sometimes, and you meet with your position, and there's a rigorous schedule. So you have a position meeting, then you have practice, then you have meals, and then you travel on the road. You have to break away from that schedule to be able to find time to meet with the players one-on-one. And as a guy who's been coaching college football for 29 years, that individualized attention, which I think Matt was really brought out in me and in all of us, I think went a long way. And I think the coaches here have a personal relationship with their players. I think Matt wanted that, but I think he was able to show us the kind of the strength of cultivating that. And I think it was really important in our success to be able to have that kind of relationship with our players, because we push them hard and they work really hard. But I think a lot of them would tell you, like, they do it because they love Temple and they love each other more so than they were forced to do it, which I think is really hard in this day and age to make the kids do that.
Can you talk about the opportunity that you have in front of you as interim head coach now? Just talk about that opportunity.
Well, to me, it was just kind of being in the right place at the right time. So I was in my car and the phone rang, and and Pat asked me to do it, and I said, yeah. I mean, it was not even a hesitation about wanting to do it or even thinking about whether I wanted to do it. The program needs somebody to step up and say, okay, here's where we're going tomorrow, not what's the next head coach going to be. So I was able to say yes and come in here yesterday and just put my arm around a few guys and say, what's next? And that's kind of been one of our mottos. And what are we going to do next? Some of the kids are like, well, what's next is we got to figure out who the next head coach is going to be, or we got to win this bowl game. I said, no, what's next is breakfast tomorrow. You have to be at breakfast tomorrow between 7 and 9 o'clock. And take it one step at a time. And that's how, and the older guys, to have the older guys haven't been through that and have them in the room to say to the young guys, oh, we went through this with Adazio in 2012 when we first got here. And it seems like it's the end of the world, but it's not. You press on and you go one day at a time. So that's all. I mean, it's really no more than that.
Yeah, do you think those veterans have really helped in these last 24 hours for these younger guys like Ventel and Raquel who haven't been here for all that long?
More than you'll ever know. And you mentioned Ventel and Raquel. They've been here for a year. There's guys right now that haven't even seen the field, guys that have just been here for 4 months or since July. Those are the guys that I think are really the most impacted. I mean, anybody could be impacted, but the role, I don't think any of us will ever know the impact that those older guys have on those younger guys. They're great people, and they've done it. They put their arm around. They've talked to them individually. They've even gotten gotten loud with them and said, no, listen, you're talking nonsense now. Let's be real here. Here's what we got to do. We got to do what the next thing is, which is go to breakfast tomorrow, which is be at study hall tomorrow, and that's it. And that's what we're going to do. So they've been terrific with it, and I think the program and the coaches that are going to be here, that are going to stick around and coach the bowl game, which is going to be most of us, is going to make this into a really great experience for the whole team.
So you said that most of the coaches will stick around to coach the bowl game.
Yeah, I think it's still a little bit up in the air. I think right now in terms of what's going to happen. Just Matt just left basically, so I think each guy's going to try to take a look at his own situation. But an overwhelming amount of guys and players have expressed the interest to have this kind of last go around together. And those guys have been here for a little bit that have been on our staff. And those guys are going to want to be around for the players. And I think it's going to be. I think we'll have most of the guys around. It'll be a great experience and a lot of fun for the kids. And we're going to go out and try to win 11 games.
And finally, what was sort of the message to the team, to Matt Rhule, when he met with the players and coaches yesterday?
I wasn't there. I was on the road recruiting, so I know it was impactful and emotional. And I talked to Matt too, and it was emotional for Matt because Matt's invested. And that's the one thing when you kind of follow this plan of getting to know the kids and you know them personally and you try to get around them a little bit. It's hard to get when you walk away from them when they graduate. It makes it a little bit harder, and I think that's why everybody doesn't do it. But I think he was emotional. I know the kids were emotional. But the message was I'm leaving. Thank you, and I love you guys, and you'll be okay.